Hey, what's up, guys? Bone Thug said it's the first of the month. In this case, it's the first of the year 2026. Welcome. Now, I'm here to talk about what I need to do differently. Now, I'm not talking about resolutions because let's be real, most people don't follow through and do those. I'm going to say, what did I do wrong? Or in this case, what can I do better in 2026? I'll be straightforward with you. I made a lot of mistakes. I made some business moves that didn't benefit as much. I brought on people on my team that are literally no longer with me in the same year. And that's what it is. That's the process of being a business owner, growing pains. And I'm in the mental performance industry and I'm a very niche market of that. So it's a lot more like issues I kind of face. But what did I do that I could do better? Now, last year, I brought on a team of people, about five or six, that were not interns, but not employees. I call them interns. And it might have been zealous because my goal was make it like a farm system where I can bring them through the ranks of Mind by the One. They can learn our methods, they can learn our protocols, and eventually one or more than them could get a job. That's really what I wanted to do. But I had a big problem that I didn't really vet for how did they align with Mind by the One's vision. So while they were eager to learn from me, because in the facade of what they see, and I don't want to use a facade as in fake, but instead of what they thought they saw, Mr. Mental Muscle, Mind Body One, work with the top performers, military, law enforcement, and that is true. But when they get behind that curtain, like the Wizard of Oz, they see what's really there. And like I said, it's not a facade. It's just that it's not as sexy or glamorous as what it really looks like. So when a lot of them saw that, they dang, this is not the work I thought it would be. It's more work than I thought it would be. And it kind of doesn't align with what everyone over there is telling me what I should do to be better in this industry. I literally had them butting heads with me to the point where they're saying, well, I see on LinkedIn, I see this, I see that. And they're saying the opposite of what you're doing. And I'm big on like, hey, do what you want, but this is how we got to where we're at. And if it's not a fit, then bye. So I dismissed half of them about in July. So from May to July, I lost about half of them. I found out they were on my video calls, talking, kind of like hot mic moments, saying things that they didn't know I heard. It is what it is. And this is the cost to be the boss. But the remaining people, the problem I had with them was they were closer. So when you talk about corralling a team, right? I like to compare it to like Alexander the Great. Not saying I'm some greatness, but my middle name is Alexander, but he took over the free world at the given time and he could only curate or manage so much. So when he would go to each kingdom, when he would come back, things would change because he was not there. And that's something I had a problem with, and I'll take accountability. I could not oversee my entire kingdom. Granted, I built something great and it's still great and it's going to be greater, but I can't be everywhere. So quality got lesser, buy-in reduced, and I lost some people along the way. That was one of the biggest mistakes. In the same tier, I brought on actual paid workers where they had ulterior motives. I saw it. I had someone basically use a majority of my IP, pitch it in a business competition without my consent. And when I found out, I was like, hey, we need to figure out an agreement. And we did. We're going to split it. They end up not winning it. And I think it's partly because there was some headbutting where they thought I was not, you know, entitled to certain things, which is kind of like use 90% of my IP to get to this point. And there was some headbutting and they're not good under pressure. They didn't make it. I tried to be more a part of it than they wanted me to. And I think I could have helped it, but in the end, they did not win. So that was a big endeavor that set me back because I put a lot of energy into something that was more so someone else's benefit. Because if they had won the competition, it would not have been Mind Body One. It would have been their company via Mind Body One, which from a monetary standpoint, I would have had something to gain. But that didn't really sit right with me. And me and that person had a back and forth. And sadly, it didn't go anywhere. There was time, there's money put into that. So these mistakes is a bit of my optimism because I look for the best in people. But at the same time, I got to realize, and it's funny, I'm in the behavior sciences, that not everything is what it seems. And I take a lot of people at face value. So that set me back a lot. And I'll say if that's the second thing, maybe. The third thing I'll be is being like aware of what I can actually do. Now, imposter syndrome is something that a lot of people deal with. I personally have dealt with it and I still do to some degree. I even use an analogy I like to use is imposter syndrome is okay because there's a level of it that makes you better. Because if you're questioning how good you are, and if you're not good enough, that means there's a level where you know you are, but you could be better. So I like that side of imposter syndrome because it makes you thrive and level up. But the other side is if you let it sit there too long, you start doubting what you actually can do and you forget how great you are. I like to say it's like a a roommate that's supposed to stay there for a few nights, maybe a few weeks, but they overstay their welcome. It's okay if they visit every now and then. Hey, I'm here, imposter syndrome. And then you say, okay. And then you're like, know what? You need to get out of here after you realize how great you are. But if you let them sleep there too long, it's going to be a problem. And that's kind of what I had happen. And there was times where, remember, I work with clients, I build apps, tools, I have a team, and I do with major corporations on the regular. My job is quite busy. My job as a on the field mental coach is very reduced. I have a team now, so they do the performance based stuff, whether it's strength conditioning, mobility, mental performance, cognitive, team, sport, law enforcement. Great, but I still have a hand in that to some degree. But basically, I forgot who I was and didn't use that to my advantage. It's kind of like that. I like these analogies, as y'all know, Monstars, right? They were scared of the little Danny DeVito character bullying them, but they were all like 7, 8 feet tall now, big muscles, could dunk and all that. And remember, they're like, we're bigger than we used to be. And they realized at that very moment, he effed up and they're like, we're going to throw you back to Moron Mountain. And that's basically where I'm at right now. So I like to share this because I have issues and struggle. And granted, I've had a lot of success and I'm very grateful. And I've had a lot of people who helped me get there. So it's not just about woe is me. What didn't I do this year? But 2026 has a good outlook because I've moved into the tech role a little bit more. I've gotten some new contracts with that, and that's been great. Still building. I brought on some tech interns. I've gotten better at vetting. So let's segue to how do I do it better? So the first one is get better at vetting. Not to say the good or bad hires. I think everyone I brought on was very good. I don't think that's ever been the problem. The problem I ran into is, were they good for mind, body? One. And sadly, most of them weren't. And that's why I have the problem. So the first thing I had to do better in 2026 is vet the people who fit our culture, mind, body, one, get your mind right. Because we're a very unique organization where it's not a major corporation, not in the sense of money or team size, but in the sense of we don't do things like everyone do. It's in our code. It literally says, don't do what they're doing. That's in one of our 5 principles. And it's not just to be different. It's the sake that I've built something I have, and I'm bringing people into it, and they got to keep that standard. And sadly, going back to 2025, I know we're moving forward, but that's kind of cost me a little bit because there's people who didn't carry that quality and got to come up in their own rights. And that's a whole other story, but it is what it is. So in 2026, I got to get better at vetting. So that's one. Two, I need to start following through with the great programs I create versus what I have a habit of sometimes doing is selling the greatness, showing the greatness, doing it, but then, get a little squirrely and it's like, oh, I'm over here. Not because I don't want to follow through, because once again, delegating a team, quality control. I can't say, hey, you're in charge of this now, and they may not be ready. So as a leader, that's on me. So I definitely got to get better at that. And the third thing I'll say is I need to make something happen in the sense, because once again, I'm a go-getter. I'm always making something happen. But in the sense, this can be so much bigger. All the connects I've made over the last decade plus, all the things I've achieved, all the things Mind by the One has done. It's time to make that call, make that ask where we get some heavy hitters in here so we can get your mind right to the fullest level. So these are things I'm looking forward to in 2026. A lot to work on, but I like where we're at. And I say one of my goals is to become a 7-figure company. We're on our way. I honestly would like to do it this year. Mathematically speaking, it's very possible. How probable that is, I'm not sure yet, but it's possible. But at most, we're going to increase revenue best based off of what I know we can bring in, what's in the pipeline. But with that being said, guys, what are your goals? Because that's what I went through, and I'm trying to be better. Hopefully, you can be better too. Leave in the comments below. And as always, get your mind right.